All right, welcome everyone. It is July 6th. This is the 22nd week meeting. As always, we'll just quickly recap. Last week it was a quick call. Last week we just checked in on the status of Mandel upgrade, looked in on platform support, checked in on all that stuff. We had 7 out of 15 BPs had signed the MSIG for the Kyland upgrade at that time. But really it was, pretty uneventful last week. I understand, maybe we can just hop right into development updates. Ted, maybe if you want to share what came out of yesterday's call.
So we decided we will launch 3.1 RC2 today. Areg had some work he needed to do on that. I'm not sure it's completed. It's like 6 in the morning for him, so he's not on the call. But I'll check in with Kevin Hefner. He may know because he was tasked with tagging it. We are waiting for some tests to complete in the Trust EVM. And so Matthias is working on a bunch of tests. If those tests all pass and give them a higher confidence level, then they'll move to enable the host functions. If the tests fail, then we'll probably give them a couple of weeks and we'll come out with probably something like an RC3 or a patch or whatever that will fix those. But we wanted to get RC2 out now, today-ish, based on the ship stuff that was in there and some of the other fixes that had gone out already, some P2P networking stuff. So those are now available and can be tested once the build is tagged and everything and released today. And maybe I can ask Kevin Hefner, did you hear anything from Areg and did that tagging happen, et cetera?
No, it hasn't happened yet. I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, it will likely happen by end of day today. So we will then release it and people like Matthew Darwin can then go ahead and bring it up and start to work on it. I think there was some question on the call yesterday as to how many of the Jungle 4 people were actually running the RC1 code. Do we have any knowledge of that? Is there a good way to check that? How many are running the RC1? Looks like a whole bunch.
So we got all these folks here.
I'm running it. I'm not on that list. My API is.
Yeah, you got to get your BP.json sorted.
So my JSONs are all over the place. Don't get me started. That damn tool does not like me.
Yeah, so this is not necessarily an exhaustive list. It does require the BP JSON to be in a certain state to be able to show up here.
Well, that's the API that's responding even at that. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a good bearing on it. But yeah, we're one extra on that list.
So
and I think there may be even others, if I'm not mistaken. EOSIO Jeannie, I think she mentioned to me that they are upgraded, but they're not showing up here either. So that's something. Yeah, if you know you're upgraded, but you're not on this list, it means there's something wrong with your BP JSON worth maybe looking into.
It's on the list.
All right. Okay. Was there anything else, Ted? For you to add on?
What we can do is we'll post, Kevin, if I could ask you, after you tag it, could you post in the Mandel release, the group that Daniel typically posts the meeting notes and stuff in? Would you be able, once you know it's been tagged and ready to post into that Telegram group, Kevin?
Sure.
Thank you.
Great. And then I can spread the word to the Jungle. The feedback I got from Matthew, I know he was on the call too. He mentions, given the testing still required, it's likely a no-go for today for the activation of anything. We could check back, I guess, how the testing goes next week.
Right.
Is that your?
Yes, exactly. We are not turning on any of the host features, et cetera, because the testing isn't completed. But you can still test the P2P code and the ship code and stuff like that. So there's features in there worth exercising. Instead of waiting and then having just a big impulse function of features, we can get some out now. And if the testing is good, then we can take the code as it exists and just enable those features. And if the testing is bad, then we'll have to go with it and let them fix the bugs and go with another release or a patch.
Okay. So you said today is when this will be released, right?
That was the goal by Areg. He had some stuff he needed to split apart and submit, and he thought he would have that done by today.
Yeah, and I went ahead and approved that just a few minutes ago. We should be good.
So it's done.
Great.
And you've approved it. So it looks like now, Kevin, it's up to you to kind of tag and build and all that stuff.
Still got to merge. I didn't merge them yet, but yeah, we can go ahead and do that.
Will you merge them, Bucky, or do you need something else?
Yeah. No, I'm good.
Thank you.
Great. So we'll shoot for, I guess, next week again for another go no go. On that topic, I guess I don't know if you have or anyone else has heard, Michael, from how things are going with Hyperion in terms of support. Is Hyperion working with Mandel?
I have talked to Igor, who said he was going to start looking into it. I personally tried firing up. He said, "Hey, give it a shot." It connected to Mandel 3.1 RC1, but it had the unable to get head block, whatever that ship quirk is that they had to fix in RC2. Matthew said, "Yeah, it's probably that same one." So that's why we're waiting on RC2, then can spin up or get ship going, and then hopefully we can see if it'll index into Hyperion. But RC1, no.
Okay. So do you think we can make that a priority by next week? So RC2 being out today, if we could test Hyperion with RC2, that is going to be probably a key decision factor for our go-no-go next week. I can say for sure Dfuse won't be. There's quite a bit of work that we need to do to get Dfuse working with Mandel. So when we activate the features, Dfuse will stop running on Jungle. So if Hyperion is also not working, we're limited in history solutions, and block producers or block explorers will not work. So we'll have to decide, figure out, do we have a viable history solution? And if not, are we okay living with no block explorer? So I guess we can park that conversation for next week, but maybe in the meantime, let's keep in mind that we need to validate that Hyperion works.
Are you going to put it down, like just document it there on your list of
Yes.
things?
Yes.
Yeah.
So go, no go. Let's have BPs asked to upgrade and test RC2 this week. Need to validate we have a working history solution. Go, no go next week.
So Michael, your ship node's running RC1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it connected to it, but it said unable to read blocks, and that's what Matthew said the RC2 ship fix is supposed to address, I believe. So good news is I don't think it was really mad about it. It just couldn't sync, couldn't keep up, I think. It was something about the head block.
Okay.
But I also talked to Igor, who said he was going to try to take a look at it or whatever, but he's probably busy. But it is at least on his radar. But he was like, yeah, give it a shot. It might work. And it didn't blow up as much as like 2.1. The 2.1 parts are hated it.
Yeah.
So 1.8, it was happier with it. But it was stuck. But that's RC2. And whenever it drops, I'm assuming, there's no log changes or anything like that. So I should just be able to drop the binary in place and hopefully start testing pretty quickly.
And then when it's, I think we should be pretty quick to upgrade everyone. I think I had heard there were some challenges for some people getting upgraded to Mandel, especially for those on Ubuntu 18.
If you're on 18, it was miserable, and I gave up. I think Ross gave up on it. So, like I say,
it took me 5 minutes. 5 minutes, and I gave up.
It took me a lot longer than that, but also break a lot of more stuff. But anyway, long story short, if we want to say we support 18, there's a lot of work to be done. even I needed Ross's, here are all these prereqs for 20 to work. But my concern is that you need 20. That's going to be a pretty big ripple effect of, you're about to have to deploy new servers or go through OS upgrades. You're going to trigger a infrastructure upgrade, which is good. We've been stuck on 18 forever, but it is brutal to even think about it on 18, at least building it.
So
I don't see it as a problem. Honestly, I don't see it as a problem.
Then push 18 off the cliff.
Yeah, you're going to be spinning up new infra anyway. So just start building with 20.
I wasn't. I was going to start upgrading some nodes, but
but you know what I mean.
Now and replace them.
Yeah.
I think I've heard though that the documentation was just updated also this week to give some more guidance. If I'm not, maybe someone on the development team can add some color to that. The documentation was updated with instructions to guide upgrading from 18 more. So it should be possible to upgrade from if you follow the specific steps, which are now documented. And that's just in the Mandel README. Is that right?
Matt, had you worked that?
I ended up fixing a number of problems with the 1804 build over the last couple of weeks.
Great.
Expectation is that should be clear sailing there.
So you want me to try it on 18? I'll bang my head against it a little more. Ross probably won't. But I'll try 18.
I think it's worth a test.
Hey.
Yeah.
If 18 is available, well, then I'm going to use it. If 18 goes until 2028 or something, or 27. So.
Right. I think the
support goes
is that it should build and work fine on 18, 20, and 22. So
it's worth giving it a shot. It's been updated and hopefully addressed. So perfect. That was because otherwise I wasn't even going to try anymore.
Yeah, I've personally run through all three of those. So I'm pretty confident it's going to be fine for you.
We'll see if it's EOS USA proof. Let's put it to the test.
And again, if you've already upgraded to RC1, it's going to be exactly the same for RC2. So it should be, I think, quicker with getting folks upgraded to this next release.
My problem was with the build. You just got to replay.
I was going to say, there's one last thing there that we also should have binary packages to support that too. So if you don't want to build it, there's a good chance that you don't have to. But if you do want to build it, then by all means, please test it out.
Real BP's build.
For RC1, we only had binaries for 2004, but for RC2, the intention is to have it for all three.
Great.
I was just looking at the releases. So it ends support. 18 ends standard support next year.
Right.
I don't know what the difference between standard support and end of life. End of life is 2028. But
so it'll keep getting security updates until 2028.
Yeah, so you're probably good with it for a while. Yeah.
Well, they officially support it for 5 years, but they throw security stuff on. We don't want to keep supporting more than 3 packages. So 2022 is now the current version. We should support 2020, and people should be moving off of 2018 because by 2024 we're gonna deprecate it and say it's gone because we'll do 2020, 2022, and 2024.
2022 is actually LTS.
Yes, it's out already.
I tried to run it the other day for some other stuff, and there was all sorts of brokenness.
That was like 20 a couple of years ago.
Yeah, you're always good to just sort of hang back a couple of years.
Usually, if you wait till October, it's pretty solid. They give you the first point release.
Oh, cool.
So is that worth a bullet here? We've improved the support for Ubuntu 18.
Yes.
What is it? 18 point something?
I'd say yes, because you should try it again if you tried it before.
1804.
Yeah.
All right. And that's just specifically in RC2 or across the board?
I think you have to pick up RC2. Matt, what's the answer on that?
Well, yeah. I mean, none of those changes were.
They're not back released. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're not back released into RC1.
Yeah.
I guess the instructions. Some of the instructions would probably apply to RC1, just that the actual, just like the instructions, but like the scripts wouldn't have been backported. So
Okay.
Just tell them to use RC2. Move forward.
Okay.
Cool.
Anything else to add on? Oh, I see there's a question here from Kevin. He's interested in feedback. If FillPG, am I saying that right, is something that should be updated and maintained?
I don't know anybody actively running it. I know some people have talked about it over the years, but the problem is a lot of those just get implemented by, people like Liquid Studios. They just build their own monstrosity, and then it's like, oh yeah, I'm using that, So I don't know of anybody actively, but I do know I've seen developers reference it, whether they implemented it or not. I don't know. You'd have to ask that survey, maybe.
Yeah, is that something we want to survey on? Is this regarding prioritization for Mandel 3.2?
Yeah, it'd definitely be a 3.2 thing. It's just something that came up, and Ted wanted me to remember to ask in this group. And so, I think it's just whether, we should expend resources to get it up to date and working. I believe it never worked for 2.0 of EOSIO. It was updated to work with 2.1 of EOSIO, but it would take some work, I think, to get working with Mandel.
Oh, if it doesn't work with 2.0s, then yeah, I doubt a lot of people are heavily using it. What you may see, Stan may be, because I know he's done a lot of those integrations. I know he just built a whole system for tracking traces and something. So it may not be as needed, or there may be some sort of if you're still using it, you need to take old Bessie out back and maybe use one of the other technologies. But that'd probably be a Stan question. I don't know what exactly all went into FillPG. I know he's tracking traces and whatnot.
Okay, we can send out the horn. Anyone else on this call, though, have any feedback?
Just as a side note, our history solution will also support Postgres, MySQL, and TIDB. So if someone wants some form of relational database with full history, we will probably support it.
They're going to be open source.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's why I say is there's probably going to be some community tools that I know some of those gaps are being filled. So I'm not the person to make that decision, but I would potentially say probably not, especially if it was pretty broken to begin with.
I think it did work with 2.1, right, Kevin? So for people that were using it on API nodes and stuff like that, it was working. That's why we were kind of wondering if we could get a survey or something to see if people care about it, because we can have OCI get it back working again. What is the other solution? CMAD H.
Corvin.
What is your solution?
We are basically working on a Dfuse Lite.
Yes,
because Dfuse is so expensive to host, and
right.
It comes with so high maintenance cost. We are building a light version of this Dfuse, and it will support different storage backends.
And that's Liquid IO. So if we just went out to Liquid IO, we can see that, and people could download that, etc.
No, it's in our GitHub. I mean, it's not production ready, but we have a working prototype, and we're constantly adding stuff to it. And there will probably be a grant application in the EOS Network Foundation grant applications repository.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I haven't seen your grant application yet. I'm the guy that is the first wave of processing.
I'm working on it.
Go ahead, yeah. Contact me if you need any help.
You should play this game. It's pretty cool too.
Yeah, there's a lot that we are working on. It's
You got to eat your own dog food.
Yeah, that's why he wrote it, right? Perfect. I mean, I remember that conversation talking about how Dfuse was the only thing that could keep up, and even still, it was heavy.
Yeah. The reason we are building Dfuse Lite is basically we have been waiting 3-4 years for someone to either build a Dfuse that is so low in maintenance and hosting costs that everyone can host it, or our ecosystem to thrive so much that everyone has the money to host it. But neither is the case. So and there are a few crucial features in Dfuse that we think are valuable to the community. So
from your perspective, Corvin, I don't know if have you done a good comparison between like just the fire hose part of Dfuse and the full Dfuse, and whether the fire hose alone, the fire hose is way more lightweight to run than Dfuse. Sure. Doesn't have all the features of Dfuse. Sure. And the interesting thing about fire hose is that's what's evolved into what's turning into the graph. When the String Fast team got basically acquired by or granted by the Grad Foundation.
The fire hose is absolutely nice, but you also need some form of back-end service to consume and process fire hose blocks. Mm-hmm. To post-process them, to put them into some form of storage backend, etc. That all comes with latency. You still need to host the fire hose application. For different reasons, we decided to build our own solution.
Cool.
Is that built on SHIP or is that using the DeepMind logger?
It's using DeepMind.
Okay.
One of the biggest benefits in our eyes is that you have full deltas and mapped deltas. One of the big problems with SHIP is that deltas and action traces come separate, and there are applications like the Atomic Assets API. I think it's called EOSIO Contract API. Mm-hmm. Also, some service that you can run on your server, which tries to map action traces and deltas together based on some form of estimation.
Magic voodoo.
And I think for gaming and also for DeFi, it's crucial to have that all in one data package and to have full deltas, and not only like the end result deltas that chip provides.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So on that FillPG topic, Randall, is that something you can help with, another survey? And if you can't speak now, we can catch up offline.
Or maybe text in the chat.
Or text in the chat.
Just curious, what's the overhead of running the DeepMind logger? Do you find that that overloads a node, or it's not that much additional on just a normal node that's running?
Just running the DeepMind logger doesn't make a huge difference.
Okay, cool.
At least so far, we haven't measured any real overhead, any additional measurable delays. It replays with the same performance as without.
Actually, stress testing how many services can rip data out of a SHIP node. So I'm curious, have you loaded it up? SHIP seems pretty actually efficient at handling a monstrosity of 8 or 9 servers streaming wax. So I'm curious, have you really tried from that aspect, seeing how it handles it? Only because I've been recently hammering SHIP to stress it.
I think the maximum I tried with SHIP was 4 or 5 nodes consuming the WebSocket and stuff.
It can handle more, just so you know. But I mean, obviously there's going to be a limit. But I'm curious if you've done some stress testing, if I was surprised at how well it just handled extra network load. It really didn't hammer it that much more, it didn't seem. So I was curious if loading up DeepMind consumers made it heavy.
There's only one DeepMind consumer. I mean, it's writing to std out, and you basically read from std out and then pass the binary data into, in our case, C# objects. In Dfuse, it's passing them to Go objects, and then you do all the post processing. But there's only one consumer of a DeepMind log. Yeah, in theory, you could run multiple, but
that's what I've been doing. Like, I have 5 atomic servers attached to the same ship node and 3 Hyperion servers attached to the same ship node. Anyway, we can chat about it offline. I was just curious.
DeepMind prints to the std out when transactions are processed and blocks are produced. You can't say, hey, DeepMind, give me block 500. You only get what's currently processed.
I got you. It's just a whole different mentality.
Let's take the rest of that conversation offline, but that's good to hear that we've got some options on the horizon for everyone. Speaking of the survey, it looks like Randall is listening. He can't speak, but he did confirm he can help us by sending out a survey on that question here. So that's great. Thank you, Randall. Speaking of surveys that Randall and the EOS support team have helped with, on the platform support topic, we had sent out a survey with additional feedback, and we have some responses here I can share. Again, Randall can't speak now, so I'll just quickly share. I don't think there's value in reading through these. Most of these are from people who haven't actually tested D.U.N.E. Most people just saying, yeah, it looks good from what I can see. One person, is this the one? Some concern here. Again, not someone who's actually tried D.U.N.E.
Just says Docker,
but I have
machine run slow.
Right.
Which is,
so that's,
yes.
Okay. So there we go. That I'll share this file in the, I don't have it yet, but I'll add it to the, this platform support here in case anyone on the D.U.N.E. team wants to read it. But like I said, yeah, not a whole lot there besides a little bit of.
Can you just scroll down a little bit just to see what the last guy said?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, this one is again, I guess, a misunderstanding of.
Yeah, he's saying, but he hears that D.U.N.E. is not helpful at this point, which is the exact opposite of what we just did. Right. So I think it sounds like he was listening in on that call when we had Artem on, and the feedback was that, as you know, it seemed more targeted to node operators than smart contract developers. I think all of that has been resolved. And again, that was more of, I think, a documentation clarification thing. So more of a misunderstanding of D.U.N.E.'s target audience. I almost think we need to do either a better job of marketing it or, getting out to people and explaining it, because they're hanging on to old information of, Docker and stuff. And, D.U.N.E. is not the same thing as the old Docker process. So,
right.
We've specifically made changes to support M1, and it works a lot faster now, but you have to try it to figure that out.
Right. Okay, cool. So again, yeah, I will share this. Do what you like with it, and we'll at some point maybe when we have if we do that marketing, we can kind of follow back up with these folks and see if they change their feedback. Although again, most of these folks didn't really have much negative to say besides this one and maybe this one. Okay. Anything else to add on the platform support side of things? I think last time we checked, still some documentation in progress.
It's not really documentation. It's just effectively using the binary packages that we're going to produce for the RC releases. So Friday we're going to kind of do the V1 of D.U.N.E there, and then that one will actually attach to the RC2 releases, and then Thursday we're going to have a CDT release. So that will be sort of the first version that finally gets to use these packages and be able to do the contract debugging and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's probably worth noting that there's a rollout schedule, that Thursday will be CDT and contracts and Friday will be D.U.N.E, and today is the main Mandel release.
Okay, so that's not all platform. This is more as software development side of things, right? CDT. Let's go over that again.
CDT contracts on Thursday. And D.U.N.E on Friday.
And that's like the D.U.N.E with support for RC2. Is that right? That's
correct.
the major change?
Yeah, it's the full D.U.N.E at that point. The stuff that Artem was wanting, all that will be there at that point.
Yeah,
great.
Noting that it includes the stuff Artem had wanted for EOSIO tester.
Testing and debugging, was it?
Well, it's a specific type of tester called EOSIO : tester. And it was not really meant for end users to use, but some people found it and used it, and Artem was one of them. And it wasn't supported in D.U.N.E in the first release, but it will be in the RC2 release.
Great.
You have EOSIN, and you mean
Oops.
IO.
Thank you. And support for RC2 will be released Friday.
Yes.
Okay. Any other notes to add? That covers it? All right. What else? Okay, so we covered software development, covered platform support, testing on Jungle 4. We kind of briefly touched on it. We got more BPs are now updated. We've got better support for Ubuntu 18. Anything else to note regarding testing? Has anyone come across anything? Any of the folks who have recently upgraded? Otherwise, just again, we'll promote once RC2 is ready to go. We'll promote it in the Jungle testnet, get folks to upgrade, and like I said, request, especially testing for history solutions. And we got, so we're making progress on our MSIG on Kylin. It looks like we're up to 13 out of 15. I think that's probably still the case. So just need a couple more BPs to sign this, and then we're rolling on Kylin. So we got, Aloha can push us over with just on their own. EOS Asia, Canon, SG. So we'll continue following up and checking back in next week on how this is going. Are there any other topics? Okay. Well, it was a good chat today. We'll, like I said, see you all online in the Jungle chat, and happy testing. Thanks, guys.
Excellent. All right. Cheers, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.